Hey guys, this is the Great Jedi and welcome back to the channel. Now, Star Wars Squadrons just recently came out, and I know a lot of people have been on the fence about buying this game, and a lot of people have been wanting my opinion on it. So this is going to be my honest review of the game, going over all of my first impressions. Now, before I start getting right into the review, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to put this review into two different sections. One is going to be this game for console and PC, and the other one is going to be this game in virtual reality. And the reason why I'm separating those two is because VR is a whole different experience. It is onto a whole nother level of immersive. Also, I want to let you guys know that I'm not doing this review just based off of me playing a little bit, but rather I have several hours into this game. I have streamed it on the channel on PC for over 12 hours alone. I've played it off stream. I've attempted to play it on VR, and I'll talk more about that later. I finished the story, played all the modes, and I'm telling you guys this so that way you guys know that I know what I'm talking about, because I have a lot of playtime and that I really took the time to really take in what I like and don't like about the game. That's why I didn't want to do the review off of the first day of launch, and I really wanted to wait till after the weekend because I wanted to give this game a chance and really take in all it has to offer. Now, with that said, if you are new and like to be caught up on everything Star Wars, including Star Wars Squadrons, be sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss a video. Please, it'll help out the channel and it's free. Now, let's get right into the review, but also stay tuned to the end because I have quite a bit I want to touch on. So let's start off with the story. The story isn't great, it's not horrible, it's kind of like in the middle or okay for me. You get missions off of both sides, the New Republic and the Empire, from a first-person point of view, and I got to say I wasn't really interested in the characters or the story at the beginning of the game, but I will say as I was playing more and more, I did start to like the story a bit, but then there were some decisions that were made and was taken in a different direction, and that kind of turned me away from it again. So if I did rate the story, I would give it about a 5 out of 10. Although, from a gameplay aspect, I will say it is a completely different experience. The mechanics were on point, visually stunning, and it really did exceed my expectations. You can drift, boost, divert all power to shields, laser cannons, or engines. You can do all kinds of mechanics. You can switch your shields from the front and the back. You can switch up your class ships, and within your class ships, you get modifications not only gameplay wise but cosmetic wise, and it really captures a very fun experience, not only for the story but for the dogfight multiplayer mode as well. Honestly, going into the game, I thought it was going to be reversed and the aspect of the story being better, but I didn't think the gameplay would be super fun. But I was gladly proved wrong in the aspect of gameplay. The story wasn't as good as I thought, but the gameplay mechanics blew me away, and honestly, that's what kept me coming back to the game. If it wasn't for the dogfight mode, which is multiplayer, I wouldn't like the game that much. So the competitive multiplayer and fleet battles is what really carries this game to the $40 price tag in my opinion. I will say in the beginning of the story, it does get repetitive pretty quickly, and that was what I was afraid of. Ever since the beginning of the game, I would just follow these people, go shoot these ships, and then rinse and repeat. Follow, shoot, follow, shoot, follow, shoot. But then after, I continued playing the game, and they mixed it up by having you play as different class ships and having different objectives, which really freshened it up. For example, there may be a mission where you have to avoid debris or shoot missiles that come from other ships or take down a Star Destroyer. They really did do a good job of making it fresh and not having you do the same thing over and over in the story once you get into it. So now that you know what I think of the multiplayer and the story, I would sum this game up as fun, but after a while it will get repetitive because there's not a whole lot of stuff to do. So it really comes down to what type of player you are and how often you think you're going to have fun playing this game, because this game went for a specific audience. I feel like this is the type of game that most people will play a lot right when it comes out and then slowly stop playing over time and only play it once in a while unless you're a hardcore Starfighter fan. And if you are a hardcore Starfighter fan that plays Star Wars Battlefront 2 like Starfighter Assault all the time, you would absolutely fall in love with this game, and it's a no-brainer decision. Get it. It would be a nice change in pace for you. As for people that like Starfighter Assault but it's not their main game mode and they only like to play it casually like me, then I feel like this game is still worth the $40 price tag just because of the mechanics in the dogfight mode. As for the casual gamers that don't care if it's Star Wars or not and want to see if it's a fun flight game, it's up in the air. If you normally like flight games, I would recommend it, but if not, then I would pass up on this opportunity. I don't think I would recommend it unless I knew the person likes flight games. So overall, I feel like this game does get my stamp of approval, but I will say my decision was close and I was on the fence for a while for console and PC. And my overall rating of this game is about a solid 7 out of 10. So if you're just wanting this game for the story, or if you're an offline player and you don't play online, I would not recommend this game for $40. I will say if you can get it less than $40 while it's on sale, then I would say heck yeah, get it, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Also, for the people that want a full offline guide for this game going over everything you get without playing online, just know I have a full offline guide in the works and will be out sometime this month, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Now, moving on to the virtual reality review portion of the game. It wasn't worth it. Straight out, it does not get my stamp of approval. Now, before you click off the video and just say how wrong I am, let me explain myself. After all, it's my review based off of the experience I had with the game. Now, the reason why I said it's not worth it is simply because I'm not able to play it on VR because of the VR bug issues. And yes, it's because of the issues and it's nothing on my end. The devs even confirmed the issues with it. And yes, when the game came out, there were some issues like any other game, but they did come out with a patch post-launch to help fix those issues, which is great. But even after that patch, there was still several VR issues and I can't even get it working properly. I've tried several things. I even checked to see if it was my headset, but no, all of my games are working properly. There's not only VR bugs that are even in this game, but there are also some issues regarding ranked fleet battle rewards, and I'm sure they're going to have a patch to fix all these issues, especially since they mentioned them, but until then, this is where I stand with it. It was honestly a pain in the butt, and I specifically bought this game for the VR experience, and it sucks that I can't experience what I paid for. That's why I bought this through Steam, but I can't even play it now because of these issues. Now, let's put these issues aside and let's say it worked. I still don't think it would be worth it unless you had HOTAS, because if you don't have it, you have to go out and buy it, which in my head raises a big red flag. I understand wanting to get it for an extra layer of immersive purposes, but having it be mandatory? I don't see the logic in that. In other words, it is confirmed that you cannot use the motion controllers that come with the virtual reality headset, and this is actually what EA had to say about it. I worked on a pitch at one point for the touch, but we decided we wanted to keep this hardware oriented so you can really feel the controls in your hands and everything and have that tactile sensation. The very best experience is with a HOTAS in VR. That way you can feel that you're in the cockpit as well as see that you're in the cockpit. And it was also a matter of precision and timing. Everything we do in the cockpit, since you have a lot of stuff to manage, needs to be instantaneous, and you can only really get that on a hardware controller. The touch controllers, for example, just don't have enough inputs to really put everything on a button or the controller, so we'd have to do simulated touches and stuff like that. If you went into a dogfight having to do that, you'd probably be at a severe disadvantage. I don't think it would be a fair match. And I honestly don't like the response. I kind of understand where they're coming from, but I have never experienced a VR game that needed a separate controller to play it. The whole point of VR is so that way you can do it and feel it. That's immersive. I don't see why they at least wouldn't have it as an option, because there are plenty of games where you can actually grab the handles with the motion controllers and start flying your vehicle and it still feels immersive. I feel like this game needed an interactive cockpit where you can literally reach out and grab the handles like other VR games and be able to turn on certain switches like Vader Immortal. They were able to nail the experience in VR. I just can't wrap my head around that excuse because we've seen it in other VR games. Anyways, before this just starts turning into what I wish it was, compared to what it is, I'm just going to end it and say it wasn't worth it in VR. And this game blew my expectations once again in the aspect of me thinking it was going to be great in VR, but not so good on console. But it turns out just to be the opposite. So a quick recap of this video is that this game does get my stamp of approval on console and PC for most players, but for VR, in the state that it is now, I will sadly have to say it does not get my stamp of approval, which honestly really makes me sad because this is the only VR game I have encountered where it doesn't get my stamp of approval. I already know people are going to be upset with this review, especially with what I had to say about my experience in VR, but it is my honest review off of the experience I had with it, and it did not give me a fun time at all. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Maybe some things will change once they fix out a lot of the bugs, but until then, this is where I stand. And I'm sure if you have all the right stuff to make it even more immersive and you got through all the bugs and it worked for you, I'm sure it's amazing, but in my experience with it, it's like I said, it wasn't worth the money, especially since I can't even get that experience simply because of bugs. Who knows, if a patch comes out to fix it and it works, I'm sure I'll love it, but it's just the fact that I can't play it right now. Think of it this way, before you leave, imagine buying a game and not being able to play that game until the next patch comes out and hopefully fixes it, and you pre-ordered the game. I bet you'd be pretty frustrated too. I'm just putting this honest review out for the people that are on the fence about buying this game and are debating on getting it. I hope this helps you guys out on your decision. If it did, or you simply just like to be caught up on everything Star Wars, or if you're interested in Star Wars content like gameplay, tips and tricks, guides, what I liked and disliked about the game, and much more, please consider subscribing and smashing that like button down below if you enjoyed it. Also, if you have a question, be sure to put it in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to answer any question you may have. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, depending on your time zone, and may the Force be with you always.